What is up, everybody? I want to welcome you all back to my channel for another Destiny 2 video. Please don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Now let's jump right into the video. Today, I wanted to share with you guys the terrible reality inside of Destiny 2, the sad fate of the two most iconic weapons inside of Destiny. They dominated PvP when Forsaken released with its first batch of Pinnacles. For old time's sake, I decided to give Not Forgotten and Luna's Howl a spin inside the Crucible. I wanted to review these two iconic hand cannons inside of Beyond Light. Sadly, I have to report that these two weapons barely have a fighting chance anymore. Sure, they could still sort of consistently 3-tap with its 70 per crit damage, but there are a few issues with these weapons. In short, I will cover those drawbacks in today's video and whether or not it's worth it to purchase these once dominant Pinnacles inside the new kiosk at the tower. But before we begin, this is merely my opinion. You guys can always leave me your opinions in the comments down below, and I will respect them as you should respect mine. First, I'm going to start with Not Forgotten, simply because it was the most sought for hand cannon inside of Destiny 2. I also helped numerous friends in the community achieve legend for this weapon. It was exhilarating and it kept me busy for a short time. It was once one of the greatest achievements inside of Destiny 2. Now it is just a mere memory that I will cherish. Not Forgotten and Luna's Howl was once a 180 round per minute hand cannon, until they were both nerfed to 150 round per minute archetype and then the 140 round per minute inside of the Beyond Light expansion. Luna's Howl was easier to obtain, but what made everyone want to go for Not Forgotten in the first place? Same fire rate, same perks. Most weapons could not compete at the time in Season 7 without getting gunned down. That's when Bungie applied its first nerf. As you may know, Not Forgotten had a range masterwork. It had a significant bump in range compared to Luna's Howl. Switching them both to 150s and changing Magnificent Howl perk. Previously, the perk would grant bonus damage after 2 precision hits until either the player got a kill or they missed. After the change, the perk will only grant bonus damage for body shots, not precision hits. 150s at the time could still 3-tap. Their main goal was to lower the TTK, and they accomplished that. However, in 2019, DMG released a few tweets on Twitter regarding these two iconic hand cannons. He stated that the weapons will retain the recoil and animation of the 180 round per minute hand cannons. That is the issue with use of these weapons in today's sandbox. But since they have been sunset, they obviously are not a priority to Bungie anymore, so it doesn't matter to them. When I play with either Luna's or Not Forgotten, I can physically see the hammer partially draw back, but the weapon will not fire. It's almost as if the weapon knows that it used to be a 180 round per minute hand cannon and all of a sudden is forced to not fire. I noticed it when these nerfs occurred, but it's even worse since all of the 150s have been converted to 140s. This animation happens whether you are on mouse and keyboard or controller. Now, as I've said before, both of these weapons can still 3-tap, but it is harder to achieve this with a 180 round per minute animation on a 140 round per minute hand cannon. The weapon just feels awkward to use compared to the other 140s. It's just weird. You can find ways to cope with this weapon, but it is not worth it for the kill. I chose to use Witherhoard, but it is a little toxic. I suppose if you have the weapon in the game, by all means use it. When I use this weapon, I find myself laying back and waiting for the opponent to push up. Back in this weapon's heyday, you could be aggressive and hunt down enemies efficiently. Now you will be killed in most situations, with 120 slapping you across the map and shotgunners smacking you in the face. And as I've stated earlier, the recoil animation of a 180 makes this weapon just awkward to use. Now the real question for the people who do not have this weapon: should you even buy it? To purchase this weapon from the kiosk in the tower, you will need 2 Ascendant Shards. That is definitely not worth it. Unless you have all of the exotics and spare shards, it is not worth it. The fact that this weapon is sunset and the animation does not work with the current weapon archetype, I wouldn't waste the time. As I've stated in my last video, the audacity to have these weapons for sale inside of the kiosk at the tower is a slap in the face for players who could not get these weapons at that time. The reality is that in Destiny 2, we are selling sunset weapons at an expensive cost. No weapon imaginable that is sunset should cost Ascendant shards. It is absurd. These weapons are a mere collector's item that is no longer viable in today's sandbox, in my opinion. To compare these weapons to exotics is ridiculous, since exotics are still viable today. I think Bungie should rethink sunsetting on pinnacles that they want to sell in the kiosk at the tower. You can't sell weapons that are sunset. If anything, they should just reissue the weapons. Just change the quest if you want. The weapons are no longer powerful and they are useless. Two of the most dominant weapons that plagued the Crucible is no more. They were laid to rest when Beyond Light released, and the fact remains that we have not seen the quote-unquote badass weapons that Bungie promised us. I guess only time will tell. If you think old legendary weapons are worth the Ascendant shards, then leave me a comment down below. Bungie has been treating the PvP community poorly. The morale is low. We lost half the game. Maps that I absolutely loved are now gone, and now Bungie wants to sell sunset pinnacles at a high cost. It's a shame, really. I would just prefer to have a Destiny 3 instead. And don't get me started on stasis, but I'll save that for another video. Leave me a comment down below on what you think Bungie should do to satisfy its PvP player base. I hate to say this, but not forgotten has been forgotten. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I want to thank you all for coming and watching today. And just as a reminder, I will have my first weekly gaming news review coming out tomorrow, so please stay tuned for that. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you.